The great thing about being an older guy over 50 plus is that we really were the last generation that could actually place trust in our teachers, right? We actually trusted our teachers. We didn't have to sit there and worry about them trying to brainwash us, right? Or trying to indoctrinate us with their political ideology, their sexual ideology, or any other ideology that they're trying to foist onto us. We didn't have to worry about that back then, right? All we had to worry about was going to class, doing our homework, trying to get good grades, trying to cheat off the guy next to us without getting caught. That's all we had to worry about, right? We got to divert our energy and attention and focus towards other more important things as young kids, which was probably girls at that time, right? Or our girlfriends, or cars. Getting our first car. That was our, really those were the only two things on our mind. Getting our first car, or a license, our first car, and girls, right? We didn't have to sit there and go, hey, is our teacher trying to hold our grade at ransom if we don't wave a certain flag? Is our teacher trying to purposely flunk us if we tell her that we don't support the current thing, right? These days, kids cannot trust their teachers, right? You just can't. Back in the day, teachers were not political, right? Teachers back then didn't have an agenda. 99% of the time, we had no clue who our teacher or teachers were dating, what their sexual preference was, what they were doing behind closed doors. Most of the time, we didn't even want to know, right? Unless our teacher happened to be hot or good looking, we're curious. Like, does she have a boyfriend? Is she married? What's her story, right? And even then, most of our peers had very little information. Nobody really knew, okay? And it was fine. It was fine because we weren't there to find out about our teacher's love life or who she jumps in bed with or who she votes for. We did not care. None of our business. We had our own lives and we just wanted to be kids, right? We just want to be left alone and just be kids. Whereas today, these kids don't have that luxury, do they? No, you can't just go to school and get a grade. Are you kidding me? You can't just go to school, do your homework, and go home. No, you have to buy into whatever your teacher is selling you. Otherwise, she might hold your grade at ransom, right? You see a lot of teachers doing that these days. Personally, my mother was a middle school teacher in the San Francisco Unified School District for 35 years. Maybe longer than that, actually 40 years. She was a teacher in the San Francisco Unified School District, and she retired in I think it was around like 2012. She finally just retired because she said she had enough of it, and the teachers around her were like essentially crazy, and she did not want to teach that curriculum. She didn't want to be part of it, and she just didn't want to teach this kids anymore. She didn't want to have anything to do with it, and she just retired. She could have continued as a substitute teacher and all this. She said she didn't want any part of it. They offered to promote her to principal. Didn't want any part of it. She was like, I'm done with the public school system. And I think in not so many words, she saw what was coming around the corner. And this was only, 2012? This was like 11 years ago. It wasn't that long ago that she retired. But she saw what was around the corner, and she was right. It's like Looney Tunes these days. It's just Looney Tunes what these teachers are doing to kids, especially in public schools, and completely getting away with it. Right? And if I had a kid, man, oh man, definitely would not have my kid in public school. If I had the means at all, I would not keep my kid in public school. I would bring them to some sort of private school. I'm Catholic, so preferably a Catholic school that is not woke, that is not teaching the doctrine of the Pope, but is teaching doctrine of the Scriptures, right? Even that, it's just it's becoming hard to come by. But back then, I mean, when we were growing up, we could trust our teachers, right? I mean, the most we knew about our teachers, if anything, the most information we had about our teachers was really just the car that they drove. And the only reason we knew the car they drove is because they park in the teacher lot, and we'd see them get in their car and then leave after school was over, right? So that was like the most information we had on these people, is we knew what kind of car they drove and potentially what neighborhood they lived in the city. That's really all we knew about them at that time. And these days, it's like these teachers want their kids that they're teaching, not their kids, but their students that they're teaching, to know everything and anything about them, right? It's like they want them, it's almost like they just want to mold them into their own little NPC robots, right? Just their own, like disciples almost. It's really sick. It's really sickening too. And I've noticed that overwhelmingly, like 99% of them tend to be female teachers, right? That are indoctrinating these kids. They tend to be female, right? Every once in a while it's a dude, right? It's usually like some like super woke dude. But 99% of the time it's always a female who's like trying to indoctrinate these kids, get them to, toe the line for a certain political party or a certain ideology or, a certain cause, whatever it is. And it's like, dude, can't you just leave these kids alone? Right? I mean, just because, again, we grew up in a time where our teachers did leave us alone, right? It's like, first of all, we could give two craps about politics, like when we were in high school, right? As a Gen Xer, we didn't really, politics was not constantly being shoved into our faces and down our throats, right? The most that, the only thing I knew about politics back then was that the president was Ronald Reagan. That's essentially all I knew. I didn't really know much else. And then he went to visit with Gorbachev. Remember Gorbachev? He had like this big mark on his head. That's why I remember that dude. But that's all I remember was him and Gorbachev shaking hands. That's all I remember about politics. Reagan was a president. That's what I remember, right? And that's all I remember, and that's all I cared to remember, because I was too busy being a kid. I was too busy trying to figure out what I liked, what I wanted to do, what I was going to do after high school, what I wanted to do with my life. I was too worried about that, right? And these days, like, kids, they're just, they can't even go to school and be left alone, and it's hard enough to try to get like good grades in school, at least for me, because school was always a struggle for me. I was never good at school. I just wanted to get out of there, but still, school is a lot of work, right? And to go to school, to go to class, to get up every day, to do your homework, to try to get good grades, try to make honor roll. That's all hard enough, but at the same time, you're trying to tiptoe around your teacher's like weird ideologies or weird, OCD that she has for certain so-called oppressed groups that you might not feel the same about, but not being afraid to say anything because you don't want her to flunk you. I can't imagine being a kid today and having to go through all that. But that's the good part about being an old dude over 50 plus is A, we're not in school anymore. B, we don't have to worry about that crap, right? We really did grow up in a time where we got to be free. And this is why I say whenever I see an old guy or I meet an older guy like myself, who has ever down on himself, I'm like, hey man, cheer up. At least we grew up in a time that was just friggin' gravy, wasn't it? It was just awesome. We didn't have to worry about all this nonsense, right? We just got to do whatever we wanted, and we didn't have to worry so much like kids do today. We didn't have to worry about our teachers trying to indoctrinate us or trying to distract us with their ideologies, right? We didn't have to worry about all that stuff. We just got to be whoever we wanted to be, right? And as always, guys, drop your comments below. Let me know what you think of tonight's coaching video. Anything you'd like to add, anything you'd like to share, please drop them in the comments below. As always, Matt Cross from AlphaMaleSecrets signing out from the Las Vegas Strip. Don't forget to smash that like button below. Also, hit that notification bell right next to it so that you're notified whenever I release a brand new coaching video here on my YouTube channel. More importantly, guys, please make sure you subscribe. Helps me out a ton when you subscribe, so please make sure you hit that subscribe button as well. Helps me out with the YouTube algorithm. And for you guys who want to support my work and all of this red pill, gold pill, platinum pill, and awesome pill that I'm teaching you guys even further, the best way to do that is by becoming a premium subscriber of my premium Alpha Male Secrets channel, which I am hosting on a private platform away from YouTube. And the reason I'm doing that is to protect my content from YouTube. In case they ever try to shut us down, they won't be able to, because all of my premium content will be protected on our private encrypted server that will be up forever. And I'm paying for it so they can never take us down. And right now it's only $1 for the entire first month of premium Alpha Male Secrets content for me. So take advantage of it. All you need to do is click that link below in my description box. It will take you over to my website where you can get signed up right now. Just takes 2 seconds, so do that now, and I will see you in my next coaching video.